Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So in here, we're going to look at how we can get user input from the console and manipulate that input. So let's do a few tests here. So again, we're still using the app class as always. So app here, and we have one main method over here. So just like you saw, we have system.out like this, dot println, right? So of course I will explain a bit in the few coming tutorials here how this all comes to be, but we can also use another item inside system because there's system.out, but there's also system.console. So if I want to get something from the system, I will just type something like system.console. Now the console part is actually a function just like this one here. So we'll put two of those brackets like that, and then the result of running that function is an object. So we can use that as well by doing dot read line like this. Okay. Now I want to explain a few things here. So the reason we're doing that, this is a function, and as well this is a function. The reason we added dot here is because there's an object that's returned once this function runs, and that object has properties inside, and one of them, or functions inside, and one of those functions is readline. So in the next video, I will explain all of this a bit more in detail. But just know this is how you can create or grab a line from the console that the user has typed. Now, it's always a good idea to ask the user to type something so that you see it. So in here, we're going to put system.print here and tell it, please type your name. Something like this, right? Please type your name and press enter, like that, okay? So then the system is going to wait for the person to type and press enter, then it will grab the item with this function. Now we need somewhere to put this result, so we've learnt about variables, so let's put inside a string, and we're going to call it a like this. So say string a is equal to the reading of one line from the console, right? And then let's print out something like hello, because we assume the person has typed their name, hello, and then we put a space, and then we put plus that a that they typed. Okay, so I hope this is making some sense. So first of all, we ask the user for something, we grab what they type, and then we show them back with a hello sign. So let's clear up the console here and do Java C, and then app.java. So after compiling, then let's run the app. So I'm going to do Java app, and it's asked me, please type your name and press enter. So I'm going to type my name here and then press enter, and it will show me hello there. So let's run it again and type something else. We run the app. Please type your name. So let's say my name is John. And I'll type like that, and there it says hello. So as you can see, this is how useful variables are, because you can put different things in the same variable, and it's gonna work out. So you put, as long as you tell it is a string, and then things can work for the better here. This is a string that it expects. Now you can also cast input as different data types. So let's see how we can do that. So we can use this to do, let's say, some mathematics. So I can say something like enter a number. So we ask the user, enter a number and press enter like this. So once we enter that number, we put that result in A. But let's assume it's an integer, and I'll just leave it like this. Actually, let's just type int like so, and then we duplicate this, enter another number. Okay, and then we'll say the product of the two numbers is, and then here we put, so there is B here, and then we put C there. So we grab a first number, put it in A, grab a second number, put it in B, and then finally we're going to say int C is equal to A times B, which is the product of the numbers. Let's see how we can do that. Let's see if this works at all. So Java C app.java. Okay, so we have a problem here. It says incompatible types. So there's a string here, cannot be converted to an int. Okay, so this becomes a problem. So let's try to cast these instead. So here I'll change that back to string. So I'm gonna do this. So we grab a string, quite all right, but let's cast these guys in real time and put int over there and put int over there as well, and then do the thing. So let's try again. CLS Java C app.java. Okay, so still we are having problems with incompatible types. So string cannot be converted into an int, blah blah blah. So it's still complaining. It doesn't want us to convert those values. So what to do here? We need to be able to grab these items using something that will cast them as an integer or something like that in the first place. So this is a limitation, I guess, of the console here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a different class just like this one, but that comes with Java. Just like the way we have system here, there's another class called Java utilities or something like that that comes with Java. So in order to use, now it's not loaded by default. So when you load Java like this, this system is already loaded. This is why we can just use it directly here. So it comes preloaded in Java. But the other classes, there are hundreds of them that are not loaded by default because you may not need to use them in your project. So you load them when you need them. So what we'll do to load that is to say import. So we're going to import it. But before we import it, let's try and use it without importing anything. And that, so that we can see what problems can occur. So to use the scanner, you have to declare a scanner. Now the same way we declare things like string A is equal to something here, we also need to declare a scanner. So we use it as scanner because scanner is the object type we are casting it. Just like int, now this is not a primitive, it's like string. That's why you see it's also capitalized there because it's not a primitive. Those primitives use small letters like int, like that, but this one is an object, a class. So we're going to call it scan. That's what we're going to call it here. You can call it anything you want. So scan is equal to new scanner. Okay. Now, using this new, I'm going to explain in the next video and explain about objects, why we use that. For now, just use it as it is. And then here you tell it where you want to get the information you want to get. So I can put a string here. I say, this is my source of text, like that. The scanner is very versatile. You can get information from a file. You can get from some text. You can also get from the console, which is what we want to use. But let's just test this by doing that. This is my source text. Let's imagine this is our source of text. So what I'll do here, I'll put a block comment so that I can comment everything out here so we don't disturb it. Then I'll grab the system print out here. I just want to do a scanner thingy here and then scan from the scanner. So when I get something from the scanner here, I'll cast it as a string because I expect it to be a string. I'll just call it A and say string A is equal to scan dot. Now scan, the reason I'm using dot because it has functions within it, and one of those functions is read line. Actually, it's not read line, it's next line, like so. So it's a function. Now the way things work in Java, usually the convention you see here, the class name is capitalized, right? This is just what was accepted. This is not required, but it just works better to remind people what's a class and what's a method. This one has a small letter, as you can see here, it starts with a small letter. Just like you can see here, system.out, this one is small letter here, but system itself is capitalized. This is a way things are done in Java. It's not required, but they're done that way for organization. So here it's next line. I'll put a capital there because there are two words, and we use camel case like this to show that these are two words. So here I'm scanning to get one line from my source text, and currently there is one line in there. So let's grab that line. So then when we grab that line, I'm just going to print it out to the screen like that. So I expect to see this. This is my source of text. So let's try that. javac app.java. We compile our program and it tells me cannot find the symbol scanner here right there. That's because I didn't import it. It doesn't come pre-imported. So we're going to say import. And how to import, you need to know where this is coming from. It's coming from the Java object, and there's one called util and then scanner. Now, how do you know what to put here? Now, you have to read the documentation of Java. And so once you read the documentation, it shows you what all the things that are possible when you press that dot. Now, right now we need to read the documentation, but later on we're going to be using an IDE like Eclipse, which once you type a dot here, it will show you all the possibilities that you can type after that. So don't worry about knowing all of this. We will use Eclipse eventually, which will be giving us suggestions. So here we have that scanner, so it will not complain anymore. So I'm just going to press F3 to repeat my action, and this time it works just fine. So let me clear the screen for a second and let's run the program like that. And you see it says this is my source of text, right? Now if these were two lines, to put another line you put /n and then you say this is another line, like so. Okay, so that's another line. This is a source of text. That's another line. Let's compile that one more time. So we have a two-line thing there happening. So you see, it still just shows me this is my source of text because I told it to get just one line. This tells it that this is a second line. So if I were to repeat this action and say scan line, and then again I say after printing out, okay, just let me save this as B, and then I print both A and B like that, I'll get one line this time, and then I'll get the next line next time, just like that. So let's see that again. javac app.java, and then let's run our app. So you see now it shows me two lines. This is my source of text, this is another line here. So that works just fine as intended. That's what the scanner can do. You can read text, you can read files, but what we want to read is the system input from the console. So here I'll type system, just like we have .out, which is the console. We also have the in version of the console. So there's system.in. We want to get the source, the text from there, not from a file, but from the system in. So now we've changed things. Now if I scan here, I'll get one line from the console and then print it out. Now you saw at first it was just printing the text immediately, but now it's gonna wait to get some text, and then when I press enter, that's when it's going to display the text. So it's a good idea to tell the user to do something. Please type something. Okay, like that. And then the thing will be shown again, like you typed. And then we put that plus like that to show the user what they typed. So let's try again, Java C. Let's go app.java. And then let's run our Java application now. So it says, please type something. I'll type hello there and press enter. You typed hello there. See that? That's how you get input. Now this doesn't solve our problem like we had before. At least we have a scanner that scans something. So now let's get back to our code. So this is how we get stuff from the scanner, right? So I'm going to cut this and I'll remove this part here because we want to get back to business and remove that. So it says here, let me remove this as well, it wasn't there. So it says here enter a number, so we ask the user, but here instead of getting from the system read line console, we're going to use the scan.next line. Now instead of next line, we'll get next int because it has a method like that. It will grab an integer. So we are assuming what we are getting is an integer, so change that as well to int, like so. So even here, we're gonna get the next int. Now this method next int is not there in the console thingy here. That's why we are using the scanner instead, because it has that. And then finally we will do that. And then now we don't need to cast these as integers because they already are integers here. So we're just gonna do that. And then the product of the two numbers is, you guessed it. So let's clear out and let's do Java C app.java. So we've compiled fine. Let's do Java app, enter a number and press enter. So enter 10, enter another number and press enter. I'll enter 12. The product of the two numbers is 120, which is very correct. Now we've cast these as integers. What happens when we type things that are not integers, right? Enter a number, I'll enter some gibberish, and then we have a problem. You see now there's an error and it says thrown here and there, and it complains all over the place because it's saying input mismatch, right? Blah 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 and so on. So the program stops execution here because there's this error. So we're going to see in future how to handle problems like this, where we get the wrong data type or something like that without crashing the program like it's happening here. But at least you've seen how to grab user input from different places. So the scanner can be used to get even input from a file, etc., etc., because eventually we will see how to get data from files and actually use them for a practical project. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.